When I was a bit younger, I used to go to City Hall. There used to be a father of faith whose name was Joe Kaio. And I would go there and I would sit on the last seats there and I would watch Joe Kaio. So one time I had a privilege. I was coming from Rwanda, and then I met him at, he used to like going to the hotel, Stanley, and he would sit there. So as I'm entering Stanley, and underline me too, I'm entering. It's a very important thing to know the places I entered. I'm joking. So I entered Stanley, and then I saw him. He used to remove his coat and put it on the seat. And Joe Kaio was very clean, always with a tie in his G80s. So I sat down and I met him. I said, "Excuse me, sir." Those days, I said, "My name is so-and-so. I just want you to know that I appreciate your service. And I want to pay for the tea." Now, what I didn't do, sometimes it's good to study territories. I thought the value of the tea, ni ile yangu ya mwerigo. No, uko kwa, where if it goes too far, it's doing somewhere around 250 or 180. If it has gone too far, that means you are rich. He looked at me and he asked me one question. He said, "Sure." So that sure made me to say, "Give me a minute." And I went and I started perusing. When I saw, I said, "Hey." But what shocked me is that I had it because I had come from being given that money. And I saw him. And I told him, "I'm gonna bless you if you give me one opportunity to ask you about the past." You know, he brought a certain minister. Who can tell me in Mombasa? A white preacher. Let me leave it there. So I sat with him and I told him, "Sir, I will pay this meal if you tell me how was revival back in those days." And you know, he was an old man, so he started saying, "Ugh." When you just hear an old man say, "Oh, prepare yourself. It will be a long counsel." Then I asked him a question. "Okay, now you have showed me the wins. I want you to be honest and tell me where you failed." You know, he used to have this. Yeah. You have sat under him, so you know. Good. YMCA. I used to come there. There is a way. When I asked him that question, you know, he was always eating. And then when I asked him, he ate at that time. When I asked him that question, he readjusted to look at me. I said, "I'm finished." I know he was an apostle. If you met Joe Kaio, you would know. You can't talk about the apostolic without Joe Kaio, the great. So he readjusted and looked at me. He stopped eating. He said, "Why would you ask me that?" I said, "I don't know. I just want to be better." Then he pointed and he says, "You are wise." He had a very deep, he said, "You are wise." And then he pulled now a chair. All that time I was kneeling. He said, "Sit down." I sat down. I was in Serena. And then he started giving me the former glory. So I asked him, "Where did you fail? If you have ever failed, where did you fail?" He pointed to some things I cannot say. And he says, "Be careful of this, be careful of this, and be careful of these 3 things." He told me, ministerially speaking. Would I be wise enough to say that to some degree they became my guiding principles in my navigation towards the corridors of ministry? When I heard that Joe Kaio rested, I didn't tell anyone. So I went there Then finally I went to the funeral. I stood at a distance. Many were burying a man. Me, I just watched it. And as I remember, as I was given an opportunity and I poured. I said, greatness has an end. And this is my end. I am also coming here. So the only distance between me and this man is time. I value old people, and I'll tell you why. Because they are my past that I've never been in. I'm easily able to tell how everything looked like before I was born. So when an old person dies, history dies with him. So when you bury an old man, you're not just burying an old man. You're burying what? History. So he rested with a lot of history. I would have loved to have more opportunities. I was just a young man then. I was coming into the space. And every time I navigated in ministry, I could remember those 3 things that old man told me. Well, at that time when we finished, I took the money I had. I emptied my account. It's one of the reasons why I believe I'm blessed. I emptied my pockets. And it was very difficult for him to take. I emptied my account. In terms of, and at that particular time, you need to know my account is my pocket. Let's not be deep. That's my account. All things end there. It was very difficult to take money from my hand. No. But I gave him. And then he asked me one question. What do you want? Hi. I told him I want my mom. I want my dad to be born. I opened everything I want. Okay, well, it was in the spirit. But what my mouth said, I don't want to make your mistake. Because everyone, only God, only Jesus. Do you hear me? What I want is for you to help me not to ever make any mistake you ever made. Pray for me. You know, that man was confused. Because this young little man is asking things that I said, I could see him with the praise like he was struggling. He said, I don't want to. That's why you made them. If any mistake you have ever made, I don't want to make it. Pray for me now. If I'm going to make a mistake, let me make a new one. But it's stupid to make a mistake a mentor before me has made. That's why it's called mentorship. It's like right now you go into ministry. Sasa sayo nakuja into ministry. Mimi nakuambia, I'm here telling you, don't go this route. Don't go that route. You're coming into marriage. I'm telling you, according to marriage, don't do this and don't do that. And you're ignoring. If you fall, are you not a fool? He prayed over me, and I remember I knelt. He said, no, do you need to kneel? I said, no, I want to kneel. He prayed, and when he finished, I walked away. He turned and looked at me, and he told me, you must prosper. If you go like that, Joe Kaio told me, Kenya will hear you. And that was my last time to see Joe Kaio alive. When I look at Joe Kaio, I see former glory. It's still glory, but it was in the former realms. Now we are here today. He has left. Put that scripture. It says, who has seen this temple in its former glory? Who is left among you who saw this house in its former glory? And how do you see it now? So the people that were left the responsibility of glory. So what? No, listen, can you look at your neighbor and don't just say what I'm saying. Understand what I'm saying. Tell your neighbor, the glory of the church is our responsibility. It's a responsibility. It's not a feeling. Glory is not a feeling. It's a responsibility. The original word is kabod. It is a weight.